Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War, Warhammer 2, Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are playing as the Greenskins against the Vampire Counts on the Bloodpine Woods. And this time around I've actually gone back to the old Goblin firing line, so this ought to be interesting. I've been relying on Savage Orc Air Boys lately. These guys of course do have their benefits, they've got their disadvantages. They're obviously less accurate, they're more expensive, but they are more mobile and they do have more damage, at least than normal Goblin Archers. Not necessarily always better than the Rusty Airs. So either way, I wanted to try the Goblin firing line again. I figured, it can be decent against the undead with their Crypt Horrors and all sorts of single target beasties. So why not try it out? Regardless, for our Lord here, we do have Wordsack, the Great Green Prophet, and you can see he's on his boar, he's on Spleen Ripper, with a Squiggly beast in his sack there. He does have a full assortment of items. He's got Warpaint of Wordsack, which I forgot to take off. I don't think it's worth it right now at 6% physical resist. Definitely should have gotten that off of him. Power of Dewa. We got Wordsack's Revenge, which I actually think is great against vampire counts who tend to overcast in the heck and spells like that. Squiggly Beast, Bonewood Staff, of course. These two are great items. Brain Burster, again, if my opponent decided to bring a bunch of squishy units, just so I could deal with them more efficiently. Fists of Gork. Then here we go. So the two buffs, and obviously you want some magic damage. So I think Fist of Gork is good for that. But I think I know some people say only bring one or the other. I like to bring both because I think you can overlap, drop them back to back, or you can support different areas of the front. And you can kind of. I just think it's great just to have both of them. There's more. It gives you more flexibility. Also, Foot of Gork. In case my opponent brought a blob of heavy units. Get back here, Wah, and Effigy of the Git. And of course, Wah right now is immensely popular and powerful, just because procs map wide. The front line is a bunch of Black Orcs, just to go to. These guys are immune. These guys are beasts. Nobody at this point needs to be told just how beastly Black Orcs are. Plus, they look awesome. Just look at this. I love the look of the Black Orcs. They're probably one of the coolest looking units in the game, in my opinion. But either way, they got lots of spiky bits. They got huge weapon strength, immunity, psychology, all the usual. These guys are just such a powerful front line. They'll hold against basically anything, the worst the world can throw at them, with a grin on their ugly, toothy face. But either way, they're awesome. On the flanks, two nasty skulkers to snare enemy cav to defend my backline a little bit. Of course, the backline here is very squishy. Two Goblin Archers and the Rusty Airs means I really need that protection against zombies. I need that protection against cavalry, hounds, hounds, fellbats, any of that stuff. The Goblin Archers need to be protected because they can't defend themselves, unlike Savage Orcs. Goblins here, once again, some additional cannon fodder protection. I had some points left over. And in the back, we've actually got a combo here. We've got the Broken Tusk Mob to give us a little bit of mobile AP anti-large, and two Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. You might be wondering why Squig Hoppers. It's actually because of their bonus versus infantry and poison. They're very mobile, so they can respond quickly. And one of the things, a lot of the harass tools in the game, fellbats, dire wolves, these sorts of annoying small unit zombies, they're all infantry-sized models. So a lot of the conventional sort of anti-large or more specialist units like Nasty Skulkers, Goblins, units like that are not going to do all that well. A Broken Tusk Mob, they're not going to do well against small units. The Night Goblin Squig Hoppers with their bonus versus infantry of, I do believe it's 11, I want to say. It's only 10, but still, bonus versus infantry of 10 are going to have a very decent melee attack against them, and of 33, and they're going to be able to melt them very, very quickly, which is really why I brought them here. You can also do decent against Graveguard. For my opponent's build, a very wide comp, you can always see he's swinging wide with the Dire Pack. These guys are immensely powerful against the Orcs. They can counter basically any of their cavalry. They've got a 14, I think, bonus against large, which is really nice. Yeah, it's bonus to charge of 14. Great melee attack. These guys will, and they trade really well even with Boar Boys and Boar Boy Big Guns, just because they don't have armor to be beaten by the AP, and they do a lot of damage, and the Orcs don't have good armor themselves. So they do really well in that situation. My opponent also brought an interesting Goon Squad here. Two Vikings on horses. These guys were buffed in the past patch, as was the Red Duke, actually. He was given greater weapon strength and greater melee stats. You can see he's beast, 70 melee attack, 510 weapon strength. Absolutely ludicrous. Coming in with all sorts of buffs. He's got LC, of course, Scroll of Leeching, and Foe Seeker. Two Vikings who were recently given a bonus versus infantry of 14, so that's going to make him much better against Black Orcs and units like that. And then a unit of Blood Knights for some anti-large. The Blood Knights, I think, are a bit of an iffy pick, but we'll definitely see how they are, because I think they're overkill against Greenskins. But definitely we'll see how they go. Three Fellbats up in the sky, immediately going to interrupt my backline. A front line of Skeleton Warriors, Graveguard with great weapons, Stearnsmen, and of course Crypt Horrors to provide some of that AP and poison. They are backed by a Corpse Cart on either end, so this will be providing Vigor Mortis, which is a great +5/+5 aura to melee defense and melee attack. I think it's Corpse Carts are definitely one of those underrated great units. Either way, my opponent does charge in, but he gets a little overzealous with the Crypt Horrors. I immediately pop Wah. The Crypt Horrors, you can see, are immediately getting dumpstered. These guys over here are doing a little better because they didn't take a bunch of arrow fire, but you can see these guys are basically gone. The Squig Hoppers dive in, and the bats are basically deleted. You can see that bonus versus infantry really kicking in, and these guys just melt them. Up here in the sky, the Felbats are actually just hovering around doing nothing. I don't really care. I'm just going to ignore them and destroy the Crypt Horrors. Once the Crypt Horrors are gone, this front line is easy pickings. You can see the Black Horse completely dumpstering the Graveguard with great weapons. This is not a good trade at all. You can see the Graveguard are pretty expensive. They cost 950. The Graveguard with great weapons. These guys only cost 1150. So 200 points extra. These guys are going to win by a very healthy margin, and these Graveguard are going to have a horrible day. In the meantime, my archers are going to switch fire onto the Corpse Guard. You can see on the periphery, these Black Orcs having a bit of a tougher time, but that immunity psychology kicking in, and Nasty Skulkers are going to dive in on the back of the Black Knights, drop their melee defense because they're getting a rear charge, pop Smoke Bomb to keep them in the fight, and the Black Orcs are going to be able to, in the meantime, kind of do okay. You can see I do get a Burn Burst there, which is going to proc my ability on Wartsag, getting a great extra additional melee defense or melee attack, which means these Blood Knights are going to get dragged down. The Skulkers do get routed, but it is buying me the time I need to mop up this flank. You can see already the Graveguard with great weapons are gone. Black Orcs still have almost 5,000 HP remaining. Dire Pack here getting chased off by the Squig Hoppers, and you can just see just how well the Squig Hoppers are doing against these lightly armored units with their bonus against infantry. They've got poison as well, so the wolves can't actually outpace them. You can see, look at that. It's like biting him. It's like biting him in the tail. Leave the puppy alone. But either way, the poor puppies are getting chased down. The goblins are rallying, and you can see, although I'm going to lose a unit of goblin archers here, I'm actually going to throw the Broken Tusk Mob into the fray. They're going to lock down all of these troops, keep them tied down. These Black Orcs and Nasty Skulkers held long enough. My opponent is pushing Graveguard through, but who really cares? We're going to tie them down with trash tier goblins, get a nice little charge in with Squig Hoppers. I don't actually know how the Squig Hoppers should do okay. These guys don't have good melee defense, and they don't have the Graveguard don't have good melee defense, and their armor isn't really going to help, nor is their armor piercing against Squig Hoppers. Look at that poor guy. Killed my beautiful Squig Hopper. But you can see already the balance of power is shifting in my favor. My opponent does summon some zombies on the Rusty Airs, trying to interfere, but we are going to be able to sort of pull away. The Rusty Airs are a little quicker, so we'll be able to pull away from the zombies. Here in the pits, a big mistake on my part, getting 3 units of Black Orcs blobbed up for nothing, which is leaving the poor Broken Tusk Mob, despite the Fist of Gork popped on them, tied down, fighting the Crypt Horrors, 3 Lords/Heroes, and unit of Blood Knights. So really, really bad spot for me, but I do pop Smoke Bomb on the Nasty Skulkers. We're going to drag these Blood Knights into the muck. And you can see the Red Duke here just getting demolished by archery fire, as are the Crypt Horrors. I actually think I was focusing on the Crypt Horrors. Either way, here in the pits, you can see the Graveguard not having a great time. They're getting wiped. We do pull back the Snag Goblin Squig Hoppers. Some zombie summons do come in, but, you know, the Gobos are going to, the lads will hold. The Graveguard with great weapons trying to disentangle themselves, but another Wah is going off because they've been able to keep Wurtzag in the fray this whole time, and another charge is going to come in on these Graveguard with great weapons. And you can see they're really going to get mulched here as the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers just go to town. Look at them, they're so ridiculous. Now they're getting chopped up in turn, but a second unit, of course, coming in, and the Graveguard, you can see, just getting demolished, especially with that Wah popped, all those charge bonuses. And at this point, my opponent's army is simply falling apart, and he does GG out. And you can see we had a bunch of Black Orcs left over. That was not going to be a winning fight. Except for the 1 unit of Black Orcs that got surrounded, the Black Orcs completely destroyed their opposition. The poor Graveguard couldn't hold their own at all. Crypt Horrors got demolished by archery fire. The Skeleton Warriors, of course, did almost nothing. 1 kill, 8 kills. Really, really bad trades there. Squig Hoppers are really solid against Vampire Guns. Against all their infantry, they're decent. They're very solid against the sort of harassment units they can bring. You saw just how fast they deleted the Felbats and the Dire Pack. They're a very flexible, sort of fast response force, and you don't need to bring the Regiment of Renown. These guys have immunity psychology as well, which is great when you're dealing with Vampire Counts who have a lot of fear and terror. Basically, their entire army has fear, and terror is on a lot of their units. So actually, my opponent didn't have any terror-causing units here, but regardless. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are really good in that situation because they're immune to psychology. They've got poison, which is debuffing your enemies. They've got a bonus versus infantry, which is great against bats. It's great against Dire Pack. It's great against zombie summons. And it means you can and they're very flexible. They're very fast at 82 speed, so they can go wherever they need to. If your opponent tries to shut you down with Black Knights or Blood Knights, you just flex away and say, screw you, run away. And leave those fights to your Nasty Skulkers, to your Black Orcs, to your Broken Tusk Mob, that sort of stuff. I definitely made some mistakes with how I flexed units around. I allowed my one flank to get wrapped up really badly. Granted, it held long enough to do what it needed to do. I'm not entirely sure I could have done much more to save it, but I definitely made some mistakes where I think I could have responded a little faster with my Broken Tusk Mob. I didn't need to commit them alongside the Night Squadron and Squighoppers against the Dire Pack, I don't think. I definitely should have probably flexed those guys in sooner to deal with the Blood Knights, deal with the Red Duke, and all those units. Ward Sack, of course, useful as always. The Nasty Skulkers didn't get crazy kill counts, but honestly, the units they were getting thrown up against were units like Lords and Heroes. They were getting thrown up against Blood Knights. None of those units are not going to do the greatest there, but they did okay. They're little prison shanks. Cabos, well, they were killing a lot of zombies. That's nothing to brag about. But yeah, Squighoppers were really MVPs this game. Them and, well, the Black Orcs, I guess. Black Orcs are always good. Goblin Archers did a decent job as well, just shutting out Crypt Horrors and Corpse Carts and units like that. So yeah, I think this is a pretty decent comp. Not saying it's the most competitive. I'm not entirely sure. I don't play enough Greenskins, I feel like, to know exactly what's competitive. But with the new WA, especially, you can get so much value out of your melee units and just be so potent. For my opponent's build, if I was to do a critique, interesting concept. I don't think I entirely agree that with a bunch of White Kings. I think a dragon or something large with AP would have been a good idea. Not having something large with AP or not having much. My opponent didn't have much AP, and Black Orcs are a staple of basically every Greenskin build. My opponent only had 2 Graveyard with Ravens, which got dumpstered in like 2 seconds flat by the Black Orcs. And then the Crypt Horrors, who get shot down by the firing line. So I really think my opponent needed better tools to deal with armor in this army, and he didn't really have them. I think that would be my primary concern or critique. Honestly, I'd consider something like a Banshee, or a Vargulf, or putting your Lord on a Dragon. If I was going to use the White Kings, I'd probably just keep them on foot and have them reinforce the front line a little bit, provide some extra buffer in there. I also think keeping your lords separate from your main army as vampire counts is somewhat of a mistake, because my opponent couldn't get those zombie summons fast enough to shut down my backline with the archers, so that was a little bit of a mistake, I think. But nonetheless, good game to Forsaken here. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. We found it entertaining to see the Greenskins crump some gits, but yeah, hope you had a lot of fun, guys. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, anything like that, be sure to share them, and I'll respond as soon as I can. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.